Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Happy Monday. It is Invasion Day observed today here in Australia, so technically it is a public holiday, but we do not observe or celebrate Invasion Day here at Centennial World, so we are still working, and I am bringing you Mini Scroll today. Before I get into it, please rate, review, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 Spotify reviews, like ratings, star ratings. What's the deadline on that? I don't know. I don't have one. Let's say end of quarter. That would be amazing. So please star rate us on Spotify. Please follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. I'm going to be posting more content that is like related to behind the scenes of the brand that's going to help support our Brita campaign and different sponsorships that we have coming up. So if you guys could follow me, that will really help keep our sponsors happy, which will help us keep this going. Okay, the first story that I have for you guys is that another couple is going viral for their wedding content, for hating their reception photos and basically trying to ruin their photographer's reputation. This is the latest example of a couple using their wedding for virality. Now, this seems to be a trend for couples getting married to like drag their vendors on social media. It is honestly so, I think, disgusting. I really hate this trend. I'll talk a little bit more about my opinion after, but I feel like the beginning of this truly popping off with Sepia Bride, I feel like she really set the stage for this because she was the first bride, I think, in recent memory that went like truly viral for something like this. Okay, so in this particular instance, this new one, the bride, I think her name is Austin. She and her husband posted a TikTok together as a couple, kind of like grimacing into the camera before a slideshow of their wedding pics played. And over it, they wrote, "When you were so excited for your reception pictures, and this is what you got back." So the photos that they shared were not great. I don't know like the technical terms for photography and things like that, but like the lighting was all off. Some of them were blurry. It just kind of looked like photos that your mom would take like on her iPad. Like it looked like you needed to like clean the lens almost. Like they were not good photos. However, plot twist. Users looked at the photos and were like, okay, maybe the theme doesn't photograph well because the theme of their wedding, and also I should also say this, I think they're like 19. The bride and groom. They are very, very young. But the theme was like Western Alice in Wonderland carnival theme vibe. And I've seen some people on TikTok say it's like they wanted to have this like really Pinterest worthy moment, but like the theme didn't translate. The theme didn't translate, but the photos they shared also were just not good photos. They also tagged this photographer in their video, which is so shady because they are obviously trying to send people to her page. They're trying to, I assume, ruin her business in some capacity. So users, went through, clicked on her page, and then some users actually found their wedding album on her website. And the vast majority of the photos that were published were beautiful. They were, clear, crisp. They highlighted everything perfectly. Like they were beautiful, almost like editorial style photos. So this bride and groom had gone through this wedding album that they received and essentially like took all of the kind of like blown out, like shitty ones and published that on TikTok to, I guess, embarrass their photographer, hurt her business. I don't know. Now, the photographer has issued her own statement about it on TikTok.
I truly do feel so bad for the bride. This was totally being handled offline. There was multiple talks with the mom. And then everything was kind of, I wouldn't say settled because obviously they were unhappy, but everything came to an agreement. And then the bride decided to post this on TikTok. I sent an associate. My contract talks about associates. I get that not everyone likes that style. And that's why in the gallery, I took both and sent them both just in case she didn't like that, which obviously we can see that she didn't.
Okay, so I think maybe this has all become a trend. As in, like, I think maybe brides or couples who are publishing this kind of stuff on TikTok, I feel like maybe they feel entitled to this like viral moment, because this is, like I said, like this is a trend now of when you are not happy with a specific vendor or something about your wedding, you basically go on TikTok and look for this virality, almost like looking, I guess, for like validation in what you didn't like about your wedding. I assume it's because weddings are kind of like universally understood to be like the one day in your life where you get to have exactly what you want and how you want it, and everyone has to like bow down to you. I think it's also usually the most expensive day of people's lives. So I think when you're kind of on this wave of entitlement around your wedding, maybe you feel like people will be on your side for these things, which is why you post it. I don't know, but it's such a horrible trend. And I do hope that now that we look deeper into it and all the users kind of look at these and think like, let me actually check out this makeup artist or this photographer or whatever. And now it seems like the audience on TikTok usually turns on the bride or the couple that is bringing this to the platform. Maybe this will make people think twice about calling out specific vendors. There's a big difference between a vendor like not following through on a contract, or I don't know, like doing something that is seriously like ruins your wedding day, versus you not being happy with the service that they provided. If you're not happy with their service, it is a completely disproportionate reaction to take it to TikTok, knowing that the chances of that going viral are there. Like, I don't know if they're high, but like it could go viral. And with virality, especially tagging one of the vendors, like the photographer, that opens all of this up to so much harassment and bullying, the potential of that for that vendor. It's like, what are you trying to achieve here? Are you trying to get them to lose business? Are you trying to make them consider hurting themselves? What are you trying to do with like publicly shaming them in front of millions of people? The abuse that specific vendor, like the makeup artist, the photographer, whatever we've seen recently, they could be subjected to is so extreme. If you don't like the service that somebody provides you, leave a Google review. That is not going to end up having like extreme virality, all those eyeballs on it. Like, I don't know if we remember, but like there's a reason why like Yelp and Google reviews and things like that exist. I get it. A wedding is very important. I get that it's a very expensive day, but at the end of the day, is it worth like possibly ruining someone's livelihood, possibly their life over, depending on how viral it goes and what side, quote unquote, the internet takes, for what? So you can have this like viral gotcha moment? I don't know. I think it's really toxic. But this particular couple is very, very young. So I think that's also coming into play here. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys is that Spencer Pratt is beefing with Alex Cooper. This is so rogue. So we all know that Spencer Pratt was all over TikTok and the media these past couple of weeks asking people to stream his wife Heidi Montag's song to help them make some money back after their home was sadly lost in the California fires. So he did a TikTok live with Bethany Frankel. I am sure you guys know who Bethany Frankel is because she used to be one of the Real Housewives of New York, but now she's basically just like a TikToker. So I'm sure you guys know who she is. But yeah, so he did a TikTok live with her. And on this live, Spencer ranted about Alex Cooper not posting about Heidi's song. So when he was asking people to post about Heidi's song to get people to stream it, there was like celebrities, influencers, people from the hills, like whatever, kind of posting themselves streaming the song, like listening to it, dancing to it, whatever, encouraging people to stream. He said, quote, "I asked her to post the song and I texted her husband and I was like, hey, it would really help." Spencer claimed he kept tagging Alex and messaging her things like this, and she just didn't answer. Eventually, Alex responded, quote, "We have a lot of people displaced at our house." And then I guess Spencer said, "I'm like, girl, post the song." "Respectfully, if I keep my platform and I keep being an A-list rich celebrity, she's so fucked," Spencer added, "because I have beef with her now. She's going to be targeted." And then he said Alex is top of his hit list. Okay, so like obviously Spencer is unhinged. And I think a lot of what he says in this capacity is kind of like shock value. I don't know if he's always like serious. But I am dead at him saying, if I keep on being an A-list rich celebrity, she's so fucked. Spencer, I love the Hills. I love Laguna. I love the OG era of MTV reality TV shows. I love that Spencer and Heidi are having their moment. I actually think it's so impressive that their marriage has lasted this long. It shows that it was a real, genuine love, genuine marriage. I think their family is really cute. I feel so bad that they lost their home. I feel so bad for anyone that lost anything in these fires. But Spencer, to say that you are an A-list celebrity, I think that's kind of crazy. Maybe on the internet. I feel like right now he could be considered like A-list internet celeb right now. But even that, I think is kind of a stretch. I also do want to say, so I've been getting a lot of like OG Hills content and stuff. And then I think, what was it, Heidi? I don't know if this was real or not. I didn't look into it because I didn't care that much. But Heidi released a new song and it's like about forgiving and forgetting, which is obviously the iconic line that Lauren said to Heidi when their friendship basically broke on the Hills. She was like, I want to forgive you and I want to forget you. Do I think Lauren Conrad may have been a bit of an entitled, toxic friend? Sure. However, did she also watch her best friend enter into an incredibly toxic relationship with a man that kept treating her poorly again and again? And she was just trying to make sure that her friend was protected and tried to stay out of it. Yes. And then also, did that best friend and her boyfriend that was toxic to her then turn around and tell people that Lauren had a sex tape? Also, yes. I cannot handle with the switch up of the narrative around the Hills. Everyone's rewatching the Hills as an adult is realizing that Lauren was the problem. I think she was the problem in some capacities for sure. I think back then she was very much painted as the good girl and Heidi was painted as the villain. However, I also think, and this is not talking about how Lauren treated Audrina or whatever, I don't know. I'm just saying in the Lauren, Heidi, Spencer saga, the big elephant in the room that I think maybe some people don't know or people forget about is that Heidi and Spencer, or Spencer, and then I think Heidi obviously was his girlfriend and Lauren was supposed to be her best friend. He was treating Lauren so badly, talking about this sex tape that she had. Pre-social media, you couldn't just get your story out there. You couldn't just say your piece to your audience. So I don't love that for this narrative. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys, this is a two-parter. There is a little bit of Brianna Chickenfry getting called out. I swear we're a Brianna Chickenfry update podcast now. First we were a Mr. Beast update podcast. And in the last few months, it's been a Brianna update podcast. So I'm going to try and keep this quick. I swear I'm not trying to just constantly come for her, but the way that the internet is obsessed with her, for good or bad, it's still the truth. Okay, so first, there is this new trend on TikTok. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it, where someone posts a photo and writes, "You're so funny," as if someone's saying that to them. And then they respond with thanks. And then they basically detail their trauma, their deepest, darkest trauma that would have led them to make them that way. So a girl on TikTok named Carly posted one writing, "You're so funny. Thanks. My brother died and Brianna Chickenfry implied I couldn't be that sad about it on her podcast." Okay, so this is going pretty viral, and creator Nikki Mack, who does pop culture news, made a video. She basically did some digging to uncover what that could have been about, because obviously some people are excuse me, what? Is this true? So she found out what this was all about. So Carly's TikTok references, Carly as in the girl that made this original TikTok, she's referencing a 2021 situation where two high school hockey players, one of them being Carly's brother, Joey, were killed in a car accident. Brianna called it self-serving, that people were commenting on their Instagram posts. And I guess the town also, a lot of people for the funeral procession, stood on either side of the road with hockey sticks. So it was kind of an archway of hockey sticks as the hearse went through, and just showing this town just showed their support for these two hockey players. And on her podcast at the time in 2021, Brianna basically said that it was self-serving, that people who went to that high school or lived in that town were posting heartfelt condolences on social media for the boys. The second piece of drama that Bri has been in is that Bran Flakes, who is a Philly-based TikToker, her. He apparently went on live with a friend and said the rudest influencer he ever met was Brianna. So I didn't see the live myself. I couldn't verify exactly what he said. But apparently he was like, he said that he did Brianna's podcast. He said that when he was being interviewed by her, he could tell that Brianna just like wasn't very interested. And then they ended up at the same influencer event and Brianna was just ignoring him. Honestly, that is a really horrible experience to have, being interviewed by someone on their podcast and feeling like they don't give a shit. That's happened to me once, and I literally will forever associate that with this person. Kind of get why, like, even if he has interacted with her since and it's been positive, which it doesn't really sound like it has been, but regardless, nothing makes up for that because you're taking your time, your energy to go on their podcast, which they are going to make money from that content and whatever, like whether you're a big name or not, like it's still content for them. And to feel like they don't give a shit is truly like a horrible feeling. But again, it's very he said, she said, I'm sure. So take it with a grain of salt. Okay. The last story that I have for you guys is that Alix Earle has sold out her skinny jeans collaboration. So Alix revived her collab with Frame Denim, and her skinny jeans called the Alix have now sold out. In November, Alix wore skinny jeans in a TikTok video when she was getting dressed for a football game, and basically people freaked out that skinny jeans were back. So obviously they had to capitalize on this. So we all know fashion repeats itself. It's very cyclical. But I think the fact that everyone's like, oh my God, Alix Earle wore skinny jeans, so that means we all have to wear them again. Like, we need to bring back individual sense of style. Please, personal style. And I want to say, like, I am not one to talk, okay? I do not have a very strong sense of personal style. I'm not a fashion girly. I really wish I did, but it does not come naturally to me, so I don't. But I think we are all so, like, brain rotted with micro trends. It is so wild to see that it's like on a dime like this, like one single person wears skinny jeans like she's a cool girl, and it's like, oh, we all have to throw out our big baggy jeans and get skinny jeans. But I think another part of it is that there has been so much discourse over the past few years making fun of people who stay like stuck in their youthful styles, like millennials with skinny jeans, for example. That's just one example. That was really labeled as like chuggy and embarrassing. So I think online there just is this culture of being like really intolerant of people dressing in a way that isn't exactly part of like the current micro trend vibe, or that's going to exactly fit into like what youth style is now. And that is part of the problem of what we always say, that like the internet now with these social platforms, everyone is in the same room as each other. So someone who's 50 is also in the same room as someone who's 19. And you're influencing each other in a way that maybe wouldn't have existed before social media became so collective, you know? Like, I don't know if it was super normal for people who were in their 30s like me to be exposed to trends that like 18-year-olds are wearing and to be kind of like questioning if we should be wearing that too. I think now it's very obvious that young people, they don't dress for subcultures anymore. They dress for the algorithm. And I think part of that is fear of feeling left out, which is normal. Like, we all experience that pre-social media, fear of feeling left out, but also fear of like being made fun of online, like on social media by complete strangers. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Please star rate us on Spotify. Again, we're trying to get to 1,000 Spotify ratings. Please follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I love you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.